New metal detecting adventure today, and we're on the river once again. Had an inch of rain last night, but it doesn't look like it's pretty clear. I mean, it's a little murky out in the middle, but I decided to come here, although I don't have high hopes. But what we're going to do is we're going to zip up the river in the boat, and we're going to look for a couple fords that I know about that are on some maps, and we're going to check places that just look interesting, like this place right here. My first stop, wasn't planning to stop here. The reason I stopped is because the river is very shallow, and you see it kind of zipped across that way. And there is a ford about a mile downriver, but it's much worse than this place. I mean, that's a known ford. It's marked, but it's very swift. This is shallow, not very swift, but it is gravelly. That might be a problem for wagons, but we're going to give it a shot just in case the Civil War soldiers marched across here and dropped a whole bunch of stuff. We'll let you know in a minute. Well, I gave it about 20 minutes, but I'm going to call this strike one because I did not find anything. But I want to show you a neat little artifact of sorts that makes me believe that I'm not as crazy as perhaps you think I might be. And that's where I originally pulled over with the boat, and I worked my way down here. And look at these rocks. These are definitely put here by man. There's no doubt in my mind that this was some type of walkway or structure. Looks path leading down from the bank. And if you look upstream, there's really not too many piles of rocks. There's another small pile between here and the boat, and I'll show that to you. That's about it. So we got this pile of big rocks right here. A lot of iron in here, but nothing old except a couple pieces of copper wire, which might not be that old. And then we have this other piece right here too. Now, one thing that I've always figured, and I think I might have read this, but don't quote me on it, is that when you would have river crossings like this, they would have a tendency to mark where you go in and where you come out. Because if the river was up a few inches and it was muddy, I mean, you wouldn't be able to see the bottom, so you wouldn't know, especially if you were from not around that area. So I always look for piles of rocks like that on both banks, and there are some big rocks over there, but there's a lot of big rocks over there, just to see if maybe that could be marking a ford. Anyway, nothing here, not a horseshoe one. Let's go ahead and move on upstream. Well, I'm still cruising up the river. I've stopped like 4 or 5 times now and gotten out and done a little detecting and found nothing except modern sinkers. What we're going to do is we're going to search this area from about here down to where it makes that sharp bend. Because I think this is the ford I'm looking for, but I'm not 100% on that. When I got here, I noticed there was a tool underwater. I think it's a pitchfork of some sort, probably for coal. What do you think? Wow, that's a big one, isn't it? I think it's too heavy for like hay. I think it's probably for like coal or something, because the railroad is actually right up in there. Oh, look at you, turtle. Almost threw the pitchfork. I'm glad I didn't throw it on him. Come see Uncle Bo. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. There he goes. Oh, well. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll hunt up this way, up to that bend, and then we'll turn around, go down to the bottom, and work our way back up. That way we can stay out, stay in the current, and it won't be quite so cloudy. If nothing else, this place is loaded with iron, and it's got a lot of hot rocks, which read about 45 or so. Sound great, but they don't read real high. I just found this thing. Looks like might be I don't know what it is. I first saw it, I thought it was like a leg to a stove, but it almost looks like a horse's hoof or something, doesn't it? Like maybe there was some type of horse here. I'm pretty sure it is, because look, it's got a little hump right there. Huh, that's pretty cool. That's probably some kid's toy, I don't know. Well, yeah, so lots of stuff here. Hopefully we'll find some good things and get a video. Something you find a lot when you're searching close to railroads. This is a giant spring that I suppose went on a boxcar or something like that. You find a lot of these, and just a lot of iron stuff, which I'm finding. I imagine that would make a really good anchor too, if you're going to want to have something cheap for your boat. We'll leave it here in case some other guy wants it. Looks like an insulator down there. Want to go and look at it together? Can't tell if it's an old one or not. Yeah, that's a beauty right there. Definitely going to keep it. A lot of times they'll have the manufacturer written around the skirt of it, but this one doesn't appear to. But there's plenty of bubbles and it's pretty, so we'll keep this. That does, actually on the top it's got something very, very faint. It says patented January, and I can't read the rest of it. Kind of like all worn off, but that's a pretty early one. It's not quite back to the Civil War, but that's a beauty right there. Well, we got our first non-ferrous thingamabooble. It's a modern pistol cartridge, just the casing, the brass casing. You can see where it has a firing pin in the bottom that's been hit. Well, not a firing pin, but a primer that's been hit by a firing pin. Now, since we can see that in the center, we know that is a post-Civil War cartridge, but we'll throw it in the old box. What do you say? Just in case. Here you go. Well, you try to get away from me. You're floating downriver. My stuff is actually up there. Well, my pick is. Found a little piece of lead, melted lead, which could be old. So I'm a little bit happy about this. But we're going to have to hook you up to me so you don't float away anymore with this yonder carabiner. This is obviously a dumping area, and I'm finding there's a lot of bones, and you can see that's been cut, so you know somebody ate that. And if you look, there's a lot of broken things in here as well, broken pots, and I see some bottles. As I'm walking back to my pick, over by that tree right there, I'm going to put you underwater so you can look around a little bit. That didn't look too exciting from up here. I don't know what you guys saw down there, but I didn't see anything. All right, let's get the detector. There's my pick right over there. So we'll get the detector out and we'll start looking for at least one Civil War bullet. Just one. This is a pretty cool bottle. At least it would have been had it been whole. Nice. We'll keep our eyes open. Hopefully there'll be a nice whole one in here. I like to look at the clay, or the mud here. You can see how stuff is actually embedded in there. I guess a big piece of iron here. That's probably no spike or something, but yeah, every once in a while I see some things. There's some coal, there's some burnt coal there. So we'll keep our eyes open. There could be an old bayonet sticking out of one of these banks around here. Well, we found a bullet. Look at that. But unfortunately, it's not a Civil War era bullet. This is much later. So we're still skunked for Civil War stuff, but the day's not over yet, is it? Now this is a weird phenomena, I do believe. That's upriver that direction. And you can see when it floods, the water comes down here and just chews out a giant hole underneath that big old maple tree. That poor thing, it won't be around too much longer, will it? It's got most of the roots already. I just wanted to come around back here and see if there's any side channels in the back, but it doesn't really look like much. And I saw that hole. That's just really cool, isn't it? So we're in a super junky area, and but I'm starting to get some targets, and we're going to work our way up that way about as far as you can see. And I'm finding a couple of things right in here, though. I just dug a little homemade sinker. Some lead, these lead strips that we find along the railroad so often. I mean, nothing really great yet, but at least we're getting some signals. Don't know how old they are, but hopefully we'll dig up a bullet or two, Civil War bullet. I know you think that's all I live for, but they do make me happy when I find them. like he just saw me. Hey, buddy. Oh, we got a big chunk taken out of his shell there, his carapace. How you doing? Hi. Yeah, we won't bother him. We're gonna go down here and just look around a little bit longer. And if we don't come up with something quick, we're gonna call it a day. We have a troll train up there and a ton of junk. I got a couple sinkers and that's about it. People dumped their trash down here. Unfortunately, I thought this might be a good area, but if there's anything here, we're not gonna find it because I'm not gonna even look. That's horrible. Unless we can eyeball it. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it's a knife. There's a knife. So it's not actually quite over yet. I'm headed back to the boat ramp and I popped into this little spot that I think I actually did a video on this area several years ago because I'm seeing some stuff that looks familiar. Mainly these white insulators. I think we did a video on these before, but they were all broken because I think someone's already come through here and gathered them up. I'm finding a couple odds and ends like melted lead. This could be from the railroad or could be from Civil War camps because they were absolutely 100% camps right above me next to the railroad. But the reason I stopped and got the camera back out is because of this little doodad. You recognize that? This is a glass ball. It kind of looks like a giant marble, but what it is, well, let me tell you this first. When I was a kid, I could walk the railroads. This would have been back in the 70s. And these are all over the place along the railroads. I used to collect them up like crazy. I never knew what they were, but I've discovered that, correct me if I'm wrong, these are actually how they would transport raw glass from like places where they made big batches of it to where they would send it out to have bottles made and stuff like that, because this would roll. This, you know, they could put these in the rail cars and it would just easily roll and it was easy to move. Pretty sure that's what they are. If not, let me know. But anyway, I thought we'd kind of bebop around here last few minutes of the day. You can tell that the sun's getting low and I don't want Miss Lindsay to worry about me. But there's lots of insulators in here. And this is why I'm kind of thinking I remember being here once before. Pretty sure. All right, I'm going to jump back down here in the water and look for some more of this lead and hopefully find one bullet before the day is out. Wish me luck. Just eyeballed a nice insulator. It's much nicer. Well, it looks older than the one we found earlier. And it has a patent date on it. It says patented December 19th, 1871. That's pretty sweet right there. I don't think I have one exactly like that. I have a bunch of these, but that might be a new one for the collection. I like it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little river adventure. We didn't find a whole lot, but we found a couple things that were worth keeping. So it was a good day. Let's get out of here.
My big round baby, and I'll rock you until I go to sleep. She'll shake the coins from your pocket, take your gold chain and your locket. Mother Earth has no sympathy. She'll take the ring from your